show. And there's an anti-Trump hate crime wave sweeping America, which the rigged media won't talk about. They'll have their cameraman on video pretending to be an anti-Trump agitator saying that Hillary Clinton needs to sue the United States and overturn the election result and claim that that's an organic, authentic protester when it's their own cameraman because CNN is rigged. We're going to go to that video later. But they're not reporting on this. Headline up on Infowars.com. Video high school girl viciously attacked for supporting Donald Trump. Of course, this is also up on DrudgeReport.com. And this is just one example. Of course, we also had up on Infowars yesterday, a school in Stafford, an 11-year-old boy, this is in Texas, was violently attacked after telling classmates he voted for Donald Trump. You can see this video here. This is the girl being attacked. This is in California. Basically, this violent, intolerant liberal accused her of hating Mexicans because she posted something that was pro-Trump on Instagram. And within 2 minutes, instantly launched into a brutal assault because she's a tolerant, peaceful liberal. If this was an isolated incident, it would be one thing, but it isn't. Again, Stafford, Texas, 11-year-old boy violently attacked after telling classmates he voted for Donald Trump in the school's mock election, leaving him having to use crutches. Another incident out of Florida. 17-year-old student punched by a classmate, punched by a tolerant liberal, in the face because he was holding a Donald Trump sign during gym class. We played the video yesterday of the guy in Chicago dragged out of his car, beaten by a mob of people as they decry the fact that he voted for Donald Trump. You voted for Trump, this is what you're going to get. Beat him round the head, rob his possessions, his arm gets stuck in the window of the vehicle, it drives off, dragging him down the street. Can you imagine if the roles were reversed? It looked like an actual lynching by the end of this scene. And you can see the video, we're playing it right now. Can you imagine if the roles were reversed? Can you imagine if a group of aggressive, intolerant Trump supporters had basically dragged an African-American guy, a Hillary voter, out of his car and sort of beating him around the head, robbing him, and then literally dragging him in the streets, hanging off the back of a car? That would be a nationwide news story. It would be all over the place. It would be all over CNN. Has CNN reported on this? No. ABC News? No. NBC? No. Nobody's reported on it. And it's part of a pattern. New Orleans, a famous monument daubed in graffiti that reads, "Die whites, die." Again, another tolerant liberal, obviously responsible for that message. We've had the death threats flooding Twitter. You can go on Twitter at any point, type in "assassinate Trump." Hundreds of thousands of death threats, some of them direct death threats from tolerant liberals who for the past 3-4 weeks have been saying, oh, those aggressive, intolerant Trump supporters, they're not going to accept the election result. They're going to riot. They're going to stage violence. When it's Hillary voters now staging violence in the aftermath of them not accepting the election result. New York Post reports assassination threats against Trump flood Twitter after election shocker. You can see more in that article. And they're basically out there saying, oh no, don't assassinate Trump because then Mike Pence will become president and he's even worse. We have to assassinate him too. They're actually on Twitter saying this. It's no surprise to us. I mean, I've been cataloging death threats against Trump for over a year now. I mean, that's why he started wearing a bulletproof vest in the first place, because of all these peaceful, tolerant liberals that don't threaten to kill you if you disagree with them politically. So you've got a national hate crime wave sweeping America. And isn't it ironic that Hillary Clinton, during the debate, in fact, it was during that infamous alt-right speech where she directly called out Alex Jones, Hillary said that Donald Trump was the cause of bullying in schools. Well, look at what's happening now in the aftermath of this election. It's kids being bullied, being violently bullied in schools because they supported Donald Trump. Again, everything they project on us, they're responsible for it. Hateful, intolerant violence. This is the new regressive left. There are very few actual real liberals calling them out. There are a few, and we give them honorable mentions when they do it. But by no means are there enough. So again, you've got riots across America, Portland, San Diego, Los Angeles. There'll be more tonight. Don't worry about that. George Soros and MoveOn.org have got this plan to a fine T. Again, the media is pretending it's an organic protest. It's not an organic protest. They literally have news networks trying to hire people to play the role of anti-Trump agitators so they can interview them. They've got CNN interviewing their own cameramen and claiming it's an organic anti-Trump protester. You've got MoveOn.org on their own website saying this is what we're going to do, following these orders, bussing them in to Austin. We had that article up on Infowars.com. And again, this Trump riot trend is yet another example of how the alt-left, the social justice warriors, the regressive left, is infinitely more dangerous, violent, and intolerant than the alt-right. We had an entire election campaign of the media demonizing the alt-right as this violent, bigoted force that's going to stage violence and start attacking people. Well, look who's attacking people. It's actually the alt-left. It's your people. It's the monsters that you created with all this hysterical media coverage for the past year, saying that Donald Trump is literally Hitler, that he's going to destroy the world. Penny, penny, the sky is falling. You created that. And that's why they're now having to frame it as some kind of organic, natural protest that is legitimate. It's not legitimate. You had the Daily Beast come out and say, oh, look at Trump. He's already showing himself to be anti-free press, anti-freedom of assembly, because he decried these protests. They're not protests when they're burning down shops, smashing windows, attacking people on the street. That's a riot. That's criminal behavior. It's not a protest. But again, because the leftist media is wedded to these people, I mean, they incited them in the first place. The media is responsible for inciting these riots because of their hysterical rhetoric about Donald Trump being a fascist. They all believe it. They've all got moral, righteous indignation. They're all out on the streets thinking that they're actually some kind of anti-fascist revolutionary force, like they're fighting against the occupation in France by the Nazis. And the media has done that to this people. In fact, let's go to that video now of the black bloc anarchist who probably is a 25-year-old virgin who lives in his mom's basement and has never had a job, smashing an electrical box with what looks like a baseball bat. Let's go to that video now. I'll talk over it. Again, this was last night. Look at him attacking an electrical box with dozens of people surrounding him. And then one of them sees some sense and tries to stop him, this woman. So then he starts attacking the woman. This is the tolerant, peaceful, loving left. This is from the Trump riot. But again, you won't see that on CNN. They'll say it was largely peaceful as shops are being smashed in, attacking bus stations, burning American flags, attacking people in the street. The media will say, oh, there were a few disturbances, but largely peaceful, legitimate protests. No, not legitimate. They're literally protesting against the idea of free democratic elections, okay? F off to North Korea. You'll really like it there. But again, this is another example of the violent, intolerant left that the media has given legitimacy to over the past year, has incited with this hysterical extremist rhetoric about how Donald Trump is literally Hitler. And we're going to go into some more videos of that probably in the next segment now. But what's the end game? Well, now they're out arguing that because Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, which isn't even true at this point, they haven't counted 8% of the vote, which is largely in Republican areas. So by the end of this, when it's all wrapped up, Donald Trump could have won the popular vote anyway. But again, that's the mantra. This is directly from MoveOn.org, from George Soros. Oh, Hillary won the popular vote. Therefore, we need to put pressure on the Electoral College to change the rules of the game after the game is finished. They're literally trying to overturn the results of a free democratic election like some third world dictatorship. This is out of the New York Post. The one scenario that could still get Hillary into the White House. For diehard Democrats holding out hope that they won't have to live through a Trump presidency, God forbid, literally Hitler, There is a last incredibly long shot for them to latch onto a surprise twist in the Electoral College. And it basically talks about putting pressure on members of the Electoral College to not vote in line with how the states voted in the presidential election. There are actually Tumblr websites, petitions, frothing SJWs everywhere devoted to this. They actually think they can overturn the results of a democratic election. These people are authoritarians, okay? They wouldn't be out of place in Venezuela or North Korea or communist China. That's the spirit that runs through these people. There you see the meme, claim Trump is going to destroy America as they go out and destroy America. Again, it's all reflection, it's all projection. What they accuse you of, they're doing, they're planning. And they're trying to actually overturn the results of a democratic election. We saw it with Brexit. Don't think this is not a threat, okay? 17 million people in the United Kingdom, a majority in the vote of 52%, voted for Brexit. We were told beforehand the government will implement your vote. Look what happened. They got lawyers, they got political class insiders to take it to the High Court. Now it looks like it's going to go to a parliamentary vote. They're going to vote against it. They're going to annul the democratic will of the British people, or at least attempt to. And that's what leftists and social justice warriors funded by billionaire elitist George Soros are trying to do in the United States. We'll get into it after the break. This is the Alex Jones Show Live. Stay tuned.